Your powers are weak, old man.
You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
I was going to do this one for the patrons, but since so many people asked me about the coronavirus, I decided to do this one publicly. I hope my patrons will bear with me. I just dropped a couple for my patrons anyway. So bear with me. This is my take on the coronavirus, since so many people want my take. Don't know why, but they do. This is probably closer to my theory about it. And this is from, of all places, Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge, they're unabashedly unafraid to actually say what they think. Coronavirus contains HIV insertions, stoking fears over artificially created bioweapon, which is what I thought from the very beginning. Over the past few days, the mainstream press has vigorously pushed back against a theory about the origins of the coronavirus that has now infected as many as 70,000 plus people in Wuhan alone, depending on who you believe. The theory is that China obtained a coronavirus via a Canadian research program and started molding it into a bioweapon at the Institute of Virology at Wuhan. PolitiFact pointed the finger at Zero Hedge in particular, though the story was widely shared across independent-leaning media. That's very true. I heard the same thing from Dave Emery. The theory is that the virus, which was developed by infectious disease experts to function as a bioweapon, originated in the Wuhan-based lab of Dr. Peng Zhu, China's preeminent researcher of bat immune systems, specifically in how their immune systems adapt to the presence of viruses like coronavirus and other destructive viruses. Somehow the virus escaped from the lab, and the Hunan fish market where the virus supposedly originated is merely a ruse, which is something I suspect too. Now, a respected epidemiologist who recently caught flack for claiming in a Twitter thread that the virus appeared to be much more contagious than initially believed is pointing out irregularities in the virus's genome that suggest it might have been genetically engineered for the purposes of a weapon. And not just any weapon, but the deadliest one of all. In uncanny similarity of unique inserts in the 2019 nCoV spike protein to HIV-1, GP120, and GAG. Indian researchers are baffled by the segments of the virus RNA that have no relation to other coronaviruses like SARS. Instead, appear to be closer to HIV. The virus even responds to treatment by HIV medication. Oh, crap. For those pressed for time, here are the key findings from the paper, which focuses on the unique nature of 2019 nCoV, and then observed four amino acid sequences in the Wuhan coronavirus, which are homologous to amino acid sequences in HIV-1. In addition, other recent studies have linked the 2019 nCoV to SARS-CoV, therefore compared the spike glycoprotein sequence of the 2019 nCoV to that of SARS-CoV. On careful examination of the sequence alignment, we found that the 2019 nCoV spike glycoprotein contains 4 insertions, and they show the 4 insertions that they've analyzed. We then translated the aligned genome and found that these inserts are present in all Wuhan 2019 nCoV viruses except the 2019 nCoV virus of bat as a host. Okay. Why do the authors think the virus may be man-made? Because when looking at the above insertions, which are not present in any of the closest coronavirus families, it is quite unlikely for a virus to have acquired such a unique insertions naturally in a short duration of time. Instead, they can be found in cell identification and membrane binding proteins located in the HIV genome. I said a good recap of the findings was provided by Dr. Fiegel Ding, who started his explanatory thread by pointing out that the transmission rate outside China has surpassed the rate inside China. Wow. But the smoking gun in this case are pieces of the virus genetic code that Indian researchers led by Prashant Pradhan at the Indian Institute of Technology found may have been embedded from HIV, which belongs to an entirely different family of viruses. Punchline. To be sure, Fingelding insists that he's not trying to promote any conspiracies about the virus being a bioweapon developed by the Chinese, although it is difficult to find a proper name for what appears to be an artificial weaponized virus. Another doctor chimed in what he thought was a solid explanation for the virus irregularities until he realized something disturbing. Oh my God, Indian scientists have just found HIV/AIDS virus-like insertions in the 2019 nCoV virus that are not found in any other coronavirus. They hint at the possibility that this Chinese virus was designed. Scary if true. Scary, but relax, it's just another ridiculous conspiracy. Yep, that is what I am afraid of. This reminds me of what they call the Spanish flu, which is the bird flu of 1918. If anybody remembers their World War I history, basically the Germans had basically swept across Europe and basically had swept into Paris. And right after they broke through the lines of Paris, not too long after that, they just surrendered for no reason. And no, there was no explanation why the Germans just surrendered and collapsed. The German economy just collapsed. There was no explanation for it. But it was at the same time that the Spanish flu, or the bird flu, which killed between 50 and 100 million people worldwide, swept across Europe. And the conspiracy theorists back then said those viruses were actually transported by chickens by World War I United States soldiers, and that virus was developed in Fort Detrick, Maryland. Conspiracy is that it was a man-made virus and that was used against the Europeans and the Germans. And while it wiped out 10% of the world's population, I think between 5 and 10% of the world's population at the time, it could have been well worth the deaths to actually keep the Germans from taking over Europe. Possibly. Now, whether the Chinese developed it or it could have been in another nation that developed it, the thing is, it is probably a man-made virus, in my opinion. That's just my guess. I'm not a virologist. I'm not a genetic scientist. I couldn't tell you one way or the other. But this is my suspicion. Now, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's just a run-of-the-mill ordinary virus that will burn itself out within a matter of months and will go back to normal. That is my hope. I hope that people are not silly enough to play around with this kind of stuff. But then again, we know how people are. People all over the world. Could the Chinese have developed this virus and it got out of hand? It seems most likely. After the Spanish flu, after that virus, after that bird flu virus, which could have possibly been designed by the United States, I don't think the United States has actually played with anything like that since. So it's highly unlikely that the United States would unleash something like this on the world unless they had complete control over it. And I don't think this one has the control mechanisms that the United States will require before they would actually implement something like this. So some people that are inexperienced, like the Chinese, as far as bioweapons, that I would completely understand. Could have actually accidentally got out? In a perfect world, no. But unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, and people do stupid stuff all the time. And this may be one of those times. Now, hopefully, the rest of the world doesn't have to pay for stupidity. But we'll see. I knew something was up as soon as the Chinese pull out the army trying to keep people inside the city by force. You see something like that, you know it's just not a drill. This is not something that's a simple flu. This is something way more serious. And the Chinese do not take viruses and diseases like this that can be passed between so many people lightly. When they react very strongly, and they have reacted very strongly to this. So this must have more legs than we actually think it does. Now, it's already escaped out of China and basically spread all over the world. And the people that were already infected or could be infected have already come in contact with hundreds, maybe thousands of other people. I don't think it is as bad as bird flu because the death rate is not as bad, even though we don't quite know because they might not be telling us the truth. But we'll see. We'll see. I do think it's man-made. I do believe that it was released by accident. But that is what happens when people start to try to play God without the experience. But with that, that's all I got for this one. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.